Please welcome Randy King to talk about Master of Orion.
Whoa. This is wicked. Thank you for coming. So, my name is Randall King, and I'm actually the executive producer on Master of Orion. I'm out of Austin, Texas, and I'm here to present the project that we've been currently working on. And you need to know that up till now, we have not shown the game to the public. We've been showing it to the press for a little while, but not to the public. So the neatest thing is here in Australia, we're showing you the first glimpse of Master of Orion. So, by show of hands, I'd like to see, and the lights are in my eyes, I'd like to see everyone who played Master of Orion 1. Whoa. All right. By show of hands, everyone that played Master of Orion 2. Pretty much almost everybody. That is so cool. So did I. So these screens were just to talk about them. So Master of Orion 1 and 2 were created in 1993 and 1996, as you all know, and were a PC-based, turn-based space game. And back in that time period, games were mostly 2D art and computer art, and were very simplistic as far as today's standards are concerned. And Master of Orion was one of the first games introduced into the space genre for turn-based games. And in fact, it was coined the grandfather of 4X games. And I'd actually like to ask you, who knows what the 4X's stand for? Give me one of them. Exploit, expand, export, what? Exterminate, and explore. So, in the original game, well, let me back up a little bit. In the original game, you would expand your empire by exploring. You'd explore the galaxy. You'd find planets that you fell in love with, and you'd colonize them. You'd expand your colonies and exploit the resources. And then, occasionally, you'd run into a race that didn't like you, and you'd have to go to war, and most likely, if you play anything like I do, you'd exterminate them. So, there was a lot of questions back a while ago when Wargaming bought the rights to the IP. Like, Wargaming? Why in the heck does Wargaming have this game? So, a lot of you don't know, before World of Tanks, Wargaming did several turn-based games. And the owner of our company, Victor Kisley, is a huge fan of turn-based games. In fact, Master of Orion, he claims, is the game that started him on his career. It's the game he fell in love with. He played it, and I don't even know how many hours that he played it, but he played it to death. He loved that game. So when it came up for sale at Atari, he had to have it. So of course, we went and bought the rights to it. Then when we started working on it, something neat that Victor said to us was that I want my kids to be able to experience the game that I fell in love with. I've been saying that a lot, so if you've heard it, I'm sorry, but it's key to the development of this game for us. He wanted to show the world and his kids the game that he fell in love with. So, when we bought the rights to it, a little studio called NGD in Argentina, of course, saw that we bought the game, and they are huge fans of the game. And so they decided on their own to create a prototype, and they approached us. We were so impressed with that prototype and with their creativeness and their drive. And in fact, the studio reminded Victor of who they used to be a long time ago, that we decided to join forces and create this game with them. I walk too much. I have to walk all the way back to the computer. So we've kind of already talked about this, but the iconic game had key features that everyone fell in love with. And we talked about the 4X's, so I'm just going to pop through this. So it was very important for us to maintain those core features, the ability to explore and exploit, to exterminate your enemies, to expand your empire, and explore the galaxy. It was a key feature that we knew we had to maintain. It was so key that, I'm just going to pop through these and just talk to them, that we went out and approached the original developers of the game and asked them to help us with the development. So we actually have as consultants the original executive producer, the art director, the two lead designers, and the music composer. And they work with us on a weekly basis. They get the builds with, same as I do, and they play the game. And then we get on the phone call with them, because they're all over the United States. And we hash it out. And they tell us what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong. And they're very vocal, because this is their baby. And I'll be honest, I'll be totally upfront with you. They're loving the game the way it exists. So the original game will have the first 10 races from Master of Orion in it. And the music in the game is actually being developed by the original composer. So he's doing all the music in it. So when you listen to the new scores, you'll hear the reminisce, you'll hear the feeling of the original songs. And it's really cool. So, we went out to recreate a game that would stay true to the original iconic game of Master of Orion 1 and 2. But of course, in today's standards, the old games would not do. We had to upgrade it. So of course, we upgraded the graphics. So we have beautiful ships in the game. There's some examples of the pixelated ships versus what the ships look like in the game. We've updated the aliens. So you'll see Master of Orion 1, 2, and then our new one, the new Master of Orion, with respect to the Bulrathi, the Sakra, and the Mirshans. Here's the updated star map. This is what the star map looked like in the old one versus the new one. Updated cinematics. So, the colonization videos are all dynamically done in-game. And so every planet that you land on will be represented in the video itself. The race you are, the time of day will be different. So every time you colonize, you'll see a new video, and it'll be cool to watch. The tech tree. And I'm just going to brief over it right now because I'm going to show you in-game. So the tech tree is a linear based, and there are branches that you can go down. But it is a lot easier to understand, and it flows really nicely. We also have several pathways to victory. So you can, of course, conquest. That's a no-brainer. You go and destroy everybody in the game, and you win the game. Technology. So if you actually research all the technology before any of the other races, you win the game. Economic. If you control the interstellar stock exchange, you win the game. Diplomatic. Once you've met all the races in the game, a galactic council gets formed. That galactic council will then vote on a supreme leader. If you get voted in as the supreme leader, you win the game. Now, I'll be honest with you, I have not been able to achieve this one yet. I end up going to war too easy with people because they piss me off. But in this one, you have to get everybody to like you or respect you. So some of the races will never like you. But if you can get them to respect you, they may vote for you in the Galactic Council. I'll talk a little bit more in the game. The last one is something we've added. So do you remember in the old game, you could play for hours and hours and hours, and even weeks, to be honest with you. You can still do that in this game, but we've also introduced a cap, the ability to cap the game. And then at the end of that turn, and right now it's set to 500, at the end of it, if you haven't won any of the categories, then excellence takes hold. And it is an average across the board, and you can win the game that way at 500 turns. And I forgot about this. So, I've already talked about this, but you'll navigate the star map, you'll colonize planets, you'll create your fleets so that you can deal with your enemies and protect your borders. You'll encounter other races and enter into diplomacy with them, and eventually you'll go to war with a few here and there. Depending on how you want to win the game, you may annihilate them or you may pull back and teach them a lesson and gain their respect. It is all your choice. So within Master of Orion, there is Orion. So Orion is in the game. Orion is a planet in which the alien race is gone, but there's a guardian ship guarding that planet. That guardian ship is pretty packed with defenses and is very difficult to defeat. But if you're able to defeat that, you get that technology. That will jumpstart you above the rest of the races. I myself usually wait until later in the game when I need it really badly, and then I go take Orion. And I send my scout ships out looking for it so I know exactly where it is when I need it. So, I'm going to announce up front that we are actually going to release a collector's edition. That collector's edition will have Master of Orion 1, 2, and 3 for free. And you'll be able to play it on your computers. It will also have a digital art book containing all the art for this build of this creation. We'll have the full music score. You will also get your own race. It's called the Evil Human, called the Terran Khanates. You will also get retro skins that you can swap out in-game and play with the pixel ships. And then last but not least, you will get early access to the game. This is how we're going to give you the chance to get into the game early. So that's the presentation. So who wants to see the game? All right. And because I'm getting older, I need glasses.
After ages of internal conflict,
So,
and faced with dwindling natural resources
all of the 10
on
races
their
from
home
Master of
planet
Orion 1
Earth,
will be in the first delivery.
humanity finally
First
came
in
together
our
to
delivery.
form a
Here,
consolidated government, replacing
What?
the many nations once dotting its political landscape.
that's a good one. I know why. I know why.
Just duplicate the screen.
Yeah, I just don't know how to do it because it's Windows 10 and I just got it put on the computer. We were using Windows 7 and they upgraded everything and I don't know Windows 10.
I just need to quit. Is that alright?
Yeah, we'll have to restart the game. Sorry. Seems the stupid PowerPoint presentation turned my computer from a single duplicate to an extended, and then, sorry about that. Go to change resolution.
Not customized. I've gotten. Where's the?
Here, I know where to do it from here.
Just it wasn't here. That one. There you go. We'll bring it up.
Okay. So I'm just going to check. Wrong one. Duplicate, yes. So we're good. So I'll restart the game. Sorry about this. Nothing's working right. Can't win. Okay. Why is it not connecting? Can't connect to the server. That is not a good sign. Oh! I had it working. There we go. So, while it's coming up, I will let you know that we are releasing the game on Steam and on Good Old Games. And right now, the reason that was going on, it was an internet issue, is that even though this version is Steam independent, which means I don't have to launch it from Steam, it still pings Steam. And so there must have been a hiccup with pinging Steam. All right. Back in we go.
After ages.
Okay, so the original 10 races are in. Let's see. Yes. All right, so we have the humans. We have the Alkari. The Alkari are the noble, the honorable, and they expect you to act that way when you play with them. The Bolrathi, the fierce fighters. They have huge armored ships, and they're difficult to defeat, and they are ruthless warriors. The Darloks. The Darloks are shapeshifters, and I'm sure I saw all the hands, and everybody knows this, I know, but I'm going to talk about them because it's my presentation. So the Darloks are the shapeshifters, and they're spies. They have an incredible spy network, so when you play with them, they'll steal your technology like crazy. The Klakons. The Klakons are the insects. They're a hive mentality, which means it's a single mind. They all work together, which means their production's incredible. The Meershans. The Meershans, I love playing with them. That's sarcastically said. They are just like cats. They'll be nice and gentle with you, but you turn your back and look out. The Cylons. I actually love playing as the Cylons myself. They're the brainiacs, the scientists of the game. And you get a technology discovering boost with them when you play with them. The Sakras. The Sakras, one of their biggest advantages, they reproduce like rabbits. They're incredible. They can popularize the planet so much faster than anybody else. I'm going to actually go in as them. All right, so this thing right here, this is called a random seed. It's something we just introduced. And if you remember the old game in the background randomized things when you played. But unless you saved your game, it was almost impossible to ever play that game again. But what we've done is we've produced a random seed in the game that allows you to do some reproducibility in the game. Which means if you play a game and you fell in love with it and you want your friend to play it, all you have to do is give them the random seed. Every time I change that random seed, I change the makeup of the universe, of the galaxy, I mean. This becomes very, very powerful for replayability and friends, trading and sharing. The only downfall to that is if you actually give it to your friend to play, don't tell them where Orion is. So, when they first start the game up, there is an intro video that tells a little bit about the race that you're playing as, going out into space. Now, we've taken great care, in my opinion, to create some really beautiful videos that show off the race moving out into space. And due to time, I may not stay with this very long, but I'm going to shut up.
A precious commodity. With greater numbers of mouths to feed, the brood now pours out from their caves to the stars in search of new dens for its families.
Big boss has summoned Stego, yes.
So, you're now hearing your advisor. Oh, Dumb thing. So your advisor will keep you apprised of everything that's going on in the game that's important. He will pop up in the game and say, you need to consider this. You need to know about this. Oh, you're being attacked by pirates. Especially when you get your empire grown really, really big and you're over here on this side colonizing or doing something and pirates start attacking over here and you don't notice it. So your advisor will pop up and say, pirates! This is the galaxy. This is a medium size. And this is your home system and your home planet. So you'll start off the game with a simple fleet. And my advisor's popping up and actually telling me how to move my fleet. So we're going to use the advisor as a little tutorial beginning of the game for new players who have not played this before. Or even played these type of games. So what I'm going to do is actually move my scout over to this planet. Then I'm going to move my frigate over to this planet. Now, just like the original game, there are many levels of differentiation on all the planets. You have multiple levels of sizes, classifications, resource definitions, and gravity. So this one is large, it's arid, it's got abundant resources and normal gravity. It's not bad, but for the soccer, it's probably not the greatest. This one is small, so therefore my population is not going to be able to grow as much. It is ocean, which the Sakura like water, and it's normal gravity. So I'm actually going to send my colony ship over here and colonize this planet.
Wait.
So he's just letting me know, good planet. Remember I said the colonization videos are all dynamically created? So I'm going to skip it. All right. So, in the original game, you had to manipulate and manage your colonies. Same thing in this game. So I have only one population because I just colonized this planet, and I can move that population to wherever I need them. I also like to make them dance. So I can move him up into research as I need, or down into food production, or back into production itself. Now, I want to jumpstart. Remember I said the Sakuras populate really quickly. So I'm going to jumpstart my population by putting him in food generation, and then I got to give them something to do, so I'm going to click on the plus sign, and I'm going to have them create a farm, which creates more food. That will jumpstart my population growth. You're about to meet my advisor. Uh-oh. Not very loud. Oh well. He's just telling you, the scientists are ready, and what do you want them to stew up? Now, the research tree starts off with 4 different branches. I actually want to show you the tech tree. The tech tree has 75 different tech groups. Each one of those has multiple technologies available to them. At the very end is a single technology. It all goes into one. Remember I said that you can win within the technology group if you research them? So if you come in and you go for that one, if you get it before everybody else, you actually win the game. Now, the tech tree is actually pretty intelligent. It knows that, for example, if I want deep space travel, it knows I got to complete this one first, and it will do so. I also can search for tech. I need terraforming. That's this one. So it will complete all the ones before it, therefore giving me, which this one is, right there. There it is, terraforming. So when this one's done, I'll get terraforming, weather control systems, and artificial planets. No, did I say that right? Yes. Onward. So I need to choose production for my home world. Now, I want to show you something that we've done for the new players. So the old players are going to want to get in here, and they're going to say, I'm going to move him up here, and I'm going to move him down here. I'm going to move my guys around where I need them. I go to war, I'm going to shove them all down into production and just start pumping ships out. If I want to win in research, I'm going to push everybody into research. But the new players may not want to micromanage everything. So what we've got is the ability to turn on auto build, and that will build whatever I want it to build based on an emphasis that I set. The emphasis set here, I can say I want to do research. So as I research technologies and research buildings and things become available, this colony is going to build those because I set it to auto build. If I come up here and change it to food production, it'll concentrate on food things to boost my population growth and so forth. So I'm actually going to leave it there.
Oh, big boss, thinking hurts my noggin.
So he's letting me know I have to hit next turn. Next turn actually passes 1 year. It also allows the other races to have their turn. Now I'm going to show you the Empire screen. This shows all the planets that you have colonized. And this is where we actually took it one more step up for the new players. I can actually manipulate my emphasis on this screen. I no longer have to go to the individual colonies if I do not want to. I can manipulate it here. You're going to work on production, and you're going to work on research. So I no longer have to go down into the colonies if I do not want to. I also can set a empire-wide focus. Like, for example, if I need money fast, I can set it all right here, and everybody gets moved into production. We also have morale in the game. Morale is affected by many different things. Morale is affected by tax rates. So you can tax your colonies. Or it's affected by when you go to war, and especially if the enemy is close. So if there's proximity to your planets, morale drops. As morale drops, your population goes on strike. So let's right now, see this indicator right here? That shows a little guy with a picket, and he's sitting down, and it says 0. I have 0 population striking, so let's go up to 30. Now I have 1 population. Let's go all the way up to 50. You'll notice I have 2, so I'm going to click on that planet and go to it. So there's my little striker. Sometimes I'd actually like to say, get off my planet, throw them off. We even joked about actually having a penal ship fly up and let me do that. Full joking. So you can manipulate that all from here. I'll warn you that if you keep your tax rate at 50, your planets will over time become more angry, and the morale will drop down so drastic that the whole planet could go on strike. In essence, going into what is called a revolt. You will lose that planet from your empire, and they will no longer be productive to you. I was playing the game, and I had actually just got declared war on by the Akari and the Sakura at the same time. And so I wanted to go in and build ships, but I'd spent all my money on technology for science, and therefore I had no money. So I bumped my tax rate all the way up to 50 and put everybody into production, and I was getting money and I was building ships, and all of a sudden I lost this planet. They went into revolt. 2 turns later, I lost that planet. They went into revolt. Every single planet in my empire revolted. I got destroyed. All right, so now I need to go explore. So I'm going to take my scout and send him over in this direction, towards this solar system.
This bit will put Big Boss to thinking.
And so my advisor has actually let me know that our scanners have picked up an anomaly. Anomalies are treasure troves. And if you go investigate them, it'll be something good. It'll be money, technology, an abandoned ship. So I'm going to actually take my frigate and go down and investigate it. So, hit next turn a couple of times. So my advisor just popped up and said, we've detected an electromagnetic disturbance. That electromagnetic disturbance, you need to go figure out what it is. So I'm going to take my scout and move him over there.
The furry New-News hail you as
So the
soon
furry
as you get
New-News,
close to their planet.
interesting name. I
They
didn't come
might
up with
not
that.
have reached the stars yet.
But that's from the original game.
Yours are not the
So
first
independent
spaceship.
colonies actually will give you quests in the game. And right now, since we just met them, there is no quest. But sometime in the near future, they'll be asking for something. As you complete those quests, they will start to like you. If you continually complete their quests, There come a point where they will actually vote for you in the Galactic Council. And they could even request to join your alliance, your empire. Now, something else that we've introduced for the new player is the ability to turn your scout into auto-explore. So you no longer have to move your scout from system to system investigating. Now, some of the old players are going to say, what? Do I want to do that? The new players will. I actually enjoy doing it. So if I come over here and say auto-explore, he's going to go off and explore, and he will go in the direction that I define. So what I usually do is I'll create several scouts, I'll send them in the direction I want him to go, and then I'll turn on auto-explore. As they find things that are important, these little indicators over here will pop up. If you click on them, they will take you to that location. So for example, independent colony, it took me over there. The independent planet, it centers it. Electromagnetic disturbance. These become very valuable to you so you can keep track of things. I'm going to say another feature that we've added is this move button. This move button allows you to actually move your ship outside of a turn. But if you use it, you lose the next turn. So your ship doesn't move the next turn. But I'm going to go ahead and use it so that I get to the anomaly.
The anomaly turns out to be a derelict ship, floating eerily empty with no signs of its former crew.
So we just got a derelict ship that we've integrated back into our fleet. All right, so what I'm going to do now is load a save game so I can take us into the future. So I'm moving us about 89 turns into the future. And you'll see that we've expanded some. We've met some races. Here's the Mirshans. And I've expanded my empire I've completely colonized my system, and I've moved up and I've colonized the system up here. And this one here. So one thing that I want to show you. See these blue lines? So in our investigation, my mouse keeps moving on me because it's sloped. I'll just hold it. In our investigation, we did a lot of research. We went to all the forums and read everything that you guys have said online about the old games and what you liked and didn't like. We compiled a huge database of everything. And one of the things that was kind of a negative discussion within there is in the original game, it was very difficult to predict where you're going to be attacked from because of the ability to move around in the galaxy freely. So we've actually introduced what are called star lanes, or we've call them come on, Randy. Now all of a sudden I am pulling an Alzheimer. I'm going to start. Well, I really am pulling an Alzheimer. I don't remember. I'll just call them star lanes. So we've created these star lanes that you can travel down, and you'll see that these are blue, which means they are fully traversable with the technology that you currently have. We have some red ones, which have all kinds of disturbances inside of them, so that you need a new tech to actually go down red wormholes. Gosh, there they are. So in introducing the wormholes, we've created the ability to predict when races are going to come and how they're going to come. That doesn't mean you're always going to be prepared for them. For example, I was playing the game and the soccer kind of ticked me off because they kept declaring war on me. So they declare war on me, I'd go out there and I'd spank them. I'd come back and he'd come back and say, okay, I want a truce. And the truce would last for several turns. And then when it was over, he'd declare war on me again. I'm like, really? So I finally said, I'm going to war. So I built up all my ships and I was going to go exterminate him. And in the meantime, the Alkari declared war on me because I was grabbing too much space. They were getting ticked at me because I was taking over the whole galaxy. But while I went down to attack the Sakra, the Alkari came into my system and destroyed me. Now, because of that, we decided to create a new entity called the Space Factory. This is a new ship that actually builds edifices in space. I'm going to send it over here, and I'm going to tell it to create something. So I can create surveillance systems, star bases, asteroid mines, super gas collectors, battle stations, star fortresses, and artificial planet construction. What I'm going to do at this instance, I'm going to create a star base. The star base creates a blockade device, therefore allowing you to secure your borders of your empire. Now, as the other races come down that direction, they can't proceed unless they destroy that star base or they request diplomatic audience with you and request open borders. So I'm going to create that and load the next save game. 22 minutes. So this planet right here has, I'm going to go back so you can see it, has a red line in it, which means my pollution on my planet is getting extreme and I need to go deal with it. So I'm actually going to come in, turn on my queue, which is something we've added, and I'm going to select pollution cleanup. There are pollution technology that I could research which would get rid of this problem for me, but I don't have it right now, so I actually have to clean up the pollution. So I'm going to select that. Let's say done. And now what I'm going to do is move that into the queue, therefore moving down terraforming in the meantime. The neat thing is that I don't lose my progress for the current things that I'm working on. So if I go to war and I actually have a whole bunch of ships in there and we suddenly declare peace, well, I don't need to create all those ships anymore. The ones that are in the queue, if I move them out and put something else in, I don't lose that progress. So when I go back to creating that cruiser or whatever, and I'm say I was 30% done, then I get to finish with that one particular cruiser. Same thing with all the rest of the technologies. You don't lose it. And constructions. So in the meantime, as I hit next turn, that planet will work on pollution, cleanup. Independent colony has just requested something from me, which this independent colony wants deuterium. We have rare resources that are randomly placed on the planets throughout the system. Something that we've created that allows you to keep track of everything that's there. Remember I said that some of the players, I don't know, by show of hands, when you played the game, did you ever use spreadsheets and document things? Okay, there's a few of you. I did. So I had this little spreadsheet that as I played the game and I found this planet or that planet and what it had and where so-and-so was and so forth, I would keep track of everything. So what we've done is created that spreadsheet for you. Here it is. So every planet that you've been to and you know about is in this spreadsheet. It's all of its classifications, its minerals, and what resources it has available to it. For example, Electra 3 has Zortium, I wish I'd say that right. And Electra Prime has silicon. Those can be used to trade with other races, or the independent colonies will actually occasionally ask you for certain things. If you don't have it, if you want to fulfill their request, you've got to go get it. You can also click on here and know where the system exists within the star view itself and within the galaxy. So you can go, okay, where is that guy? So it's all right here. Here's your fleet screen. This allows you to keep track of where your fleet is. You can also scrap your fleet. So your fleet costs money to upkeep. And especially when you go to war, you're going to create a ton of them. You're going to jack up your tax rate. And you're going to get everybody working on bringing in money into your empire. And you're going to go to war. When that war is over, you can't maintain that fleet. So you have to actually scrap some of your ships. So that's where you do this in this screen, and you can actually choose what ships you want to scrap. Let's go check out the diplomacy screen. So at this point in the game, I've met all the races. And so I'm actually going to request an audience with the Meershans.
What is it, Kerr?
So, she's not very happy with us right now, because what you don't know in the game before this, we'd actually been at war with her. And so she's not in good standings with us. And we've gone out and captured all kinds of vocal recordings and created all kinds of animations to create that in-depth feeling with these races. So as you request audiences with them, depending on whether or not you're at friends with them or they're angry with you, they will change and will treat you as such. So she's not very happy with us. Here's the negotiation screen. Down at the bottom are all the resources that you can trade. So I can trade resources, I can create alliances, treaties. Here's open borders. PAX, embassies, share charts. I can even give payments. I can also request payments if I want to be a bully.
Run along now.
Something that was in the original game was the GNN, the Galactic News Network, and we're about to see that. So we've recreated.
Welcome to GNN.
And now, the state of the galaxy. The census rankings of empire populations.
So this is a very simplistic one, but they are as sarcastic and funny as the original ones, and to some degree even more. And so they will come up, and especially, for example, well, I almost don't want to give it away, but there's one part where you get a population boom on your planet, and when it subsides, they come on and say the soccer population boom on such and such planet is subsided. It's about time they figured out how to get rid of that. And they create these communications back and forth that are actually quite funny, and I didn't do that justice because none of you laughed. So I'm actually going to send this planet up and have it create a surveillance system. And the last thing I want to show you is, I'll just hit this, I'll find it that way, right there. So I'm going to go attack the Meershans. Now, currently, we are actually in a non-aggressive pact with them, but I don't care. I'm going to be a meanie and go and attack them. So I don't know if I said it right now, but we're currently in alpha state, and not all the features are in, and one of the features that is not in is tactical battles yet. So I'm not going to be showing tactical battles. So what we do have in the game is simulated battles. And I actually enjoy doing simulated battles myself because I want to research and I want to do all that. And I don't do tactical battles very often myself. So let's go on in. So this is simulated. I'm just going to show simulated. And so it takes into account what I have versus what she has. And it's let me know at the bottom, I do not have a very good chance of succeeding. So I'm going to cancel, and I'm going to bring this fleet over. Oh, yes, I'm cheating. I set this up. And now I have an excellent chance of destroying her. And I'm going to do so. It is warning me that you're going to go to war. If you do this, you have a non-aggressive treaty. That's okay. And, of course, the simulated battle is done. Another feature that we will be adding to this is the ability to view that simulated battle. Even if you simulate it and you don't care about it, you might want to go, well, what just happened there, especially if you lose. There'll be a little button that you actually can go watch the battle. The battle really does take place, it just takes place in the background. I'm not going to attack her colony because I'm not going to be brutal, but...
You will regret this, you filthy mongrel.
So she's pretty pissed off, and we are going to go to war after that one. Actually, we may not go to war, because as I said, doing a little spank is not a bad thing in this game, and sometimes it gains you respect. So that, in essence, is Master of Orion. It has all of the key features that were in the original game. It has the ability to do negotiations, treaties, go to war with people, and fight with them. And every decision that you make in the game changes the outcome. Everything you do in the game to the other races changes how they feel about you and how they're going to treat you. I'm excited to show this game off and excited about it. And now what I'm going to do is actually open it up to you if you have any questions. We have about 13 minutes left. And if you have questions, I think there is a microphone.
Hey there. You mentioned the build queue and how you can pull things on and off it and yet maintain the level of where it's at.
Yes, sir.
Do you pay maintenance on ships that you're making that haven't finished yet?
No, you do not.
So I can get to 90% complete, pull it off, and then build something else. And when I need that ship, finish the last 10, 5, whatever, boom, off I go.
Yes, you
and
can. In essence, what you're doing is you're putting it in space dock
Yeah.
and just holding it there. So yes,
Awesome.
you can.
Awesome.
I do that often.
Okay. I had a question about the taxation system in the game.
Yes, sir.
It's a mechanic that's been in other games, like the more tax people pay, the less happy they are about it. But that's sort of a uniquely American sort of Boston Tea Party attitude towards tax. I was wondering if there was any thought to maybe like giving different races different willingness to pay tax, dependent on their sort of political persuasions.
So that's already in the game.
Ah, okay.
So every race has, especially the Clacons. The Clacons are a hive mentality and they all obey the queen, and so they will not strike near as much, in fact, very little when you actually up their taxes. So depending on who you play with, it gets worse. The humans, man, they just strike like crazy. Wimps. The next question.
Look, I played Civilization 5 for quite a long time, and it reminds me a lot about that. Multiplayer is a real problem for turn-based strategy games, and I was just wondering, you haven't shown much multiplayer here. What can we get excited about?
So multiplayer is still being designed, worked on, thought about. We are not, in other words, I'm not giving any information out. Sorry.
Any promises?
None. I would slit my own throat if I said anything.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yep. Thank you.
All right.
I've noticed you've got the 10 races. Are you going to be including some of the other races, like the Illyriums and the Silicoids?
So, what I will say with that is we're going to release the first version of this first. We'll see how well it does. We do, of course, want to take this out into the beyond and into space and all those other jargons, yes. We have on our back burner the desire to create all the other races and even some other ideas of new races. But we're going to release this first and see how well it does.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hi. One thing that I really enjoyed from Master of Orion 2 was the hireable captains and leaders and the personalities that they brought. Are we going to be seeing a return of those?
That's on the back burner, on the backlog. Any of those who know about game development, there's a backlog. It's on the backlog, and I'm not promising.
Wargaming do primarily free-to-play online games with lots of microtransactions. What's the official policy for DLC and microtransactions with the new game?
No microtransactions. It'll be a single purchase, one time only. I would quit if we changed our mind on that. And DLCs, we'll talk about that in the future.
So you spoke about the taxation and it's faction-wide. Will you be able to specifically set the tax rate for a planet or a solar system?
Right now, no. Right now, it's empire-wide. We've gone back and forth with that one. I'm going to say right now, no.
In Mutu, there was miniaturization, where after you advanced past the tech, as you climbed up the tech would get cheaper to install on ships, and they had repeatable tech at the top of the tech tiers so that you could, put 15 phases on a tiny ship instead of just one. Is that something you're doing?
That is in the works right now, in the design. So that is part of ship design and part of the tech, so it's in works.
Thank you.
So we're still working on that.
Will there be possibility of joining the Alpha or Beta?
Okay, so I had mentioned the collector's edition. The way we're doing this game is that there will not be any open access to the public unless you buy the collector's edition. We're keeping it internal for testing purposes. There won't be an open beta. But if you buy the collector's edition, you get early access. So in essence, you will if you pay for the collector's edition.
With attacking enemy colonies, will you be able to do ground invasions and other methods such as like biological plagues?
Currently, in the first release, no. That's in the backlog and in consideration, but no, we don't have it in the design right now for the first release.
Hey, what are you thinking for the spying options?
Okay, I'm glad you asked that because I actually forgot to talk about spies. So there are spies in the game, and as soon as you unlock the ability to train spies and to build a training school, you can create spies. And spies can be, once trained, they can be sent to your home world for counter-espionage, home worlds, plural, and then to your other races to do espionage, sabotage, revolts, and there's still a little bit of design going on with that. We have some more ideas for that. So yes, there will be spies. Hence, the Darlocks are huge spies. There have to be spies in the game. Next.
Hey, so what is your plan for level of ship customization we will have? Like, is it only a preset? Will there be like module to module design? Will it be a preset of ship sizes, etc.? And what impact it will have on actual ship behavior and the way it handles in combat?
Okay, I hate to be a meanie, but we're still in the process of creating that feature, so I'm actually not going to talk about it. Sorry about that.
One thing I noticed with colonies going into revolt, will it be possible that they could join a different empire?
So the only way to get them back is to send over a military transport ship and invade. And the AI currently is not doing that. We've been thinking about it. Maybe the other races can take them over, but currently in the game they do not. And if you want them back, you have to create a troop transport and go over and invade them and get them back into your empire.
Will
5
you
minutes.
Will you be having the options to personalize races? Can I have my creative, low-grav, aquatic race?
There will be custom races in the game. It's not done yet. Yes, there will be.
As a follow-up to the last question about revolts, will you be able to see other races revolting colonies? And if so, if you invade them, will that count as declaring war on that race?
Declaring war on that race, yes. And you can invade them and take over their planets, yes. Can you see them? That is, yes, you will be able to. It's not in there yet. So we're still playing around with the UI and the information that you get back with respect to the other races and how you get that. And one of the ways that you're going to find out about it is through spies. And so you'll have to send your spies there and see, but we're still playing with that. So yes, and you will be able to take over other planets. And if you do it, depends on your current standing with them of whether or not you're going to go to war.
Question on that then. Can you use your spies to incite revolts?
Yes. Yes. Which I love doing. It also is a benefit. You incite revolts, and their production goes down. And if you remember the path to victory, one of them has to do with economic and production. And if you're just almost winning there, and there's a race that's just above you, send your spies there, create revolts, and they'll drop down, and you'll pull up ahead of them. I do that also with technology. I send my spies over there and do sabotage. And it sabotages their technology and other things, but you can sabotage and set them back years in their technology advancements. Is that it? Well, I want to thank you all for coming. I hope you enjoyed it, and I can't wait to release it to you.